What's going on? This is My Life in the Shop. I'm your host, Donald Washington. Now, we got a total of 9 cops, Baltimore cops, facing federal racketeering charges. We got gun planting false evidence, stolen money, planting drugs, stealing drugs. Republicans are still, there's no police brutality. What are these blacks talking about? Trump supporters. Black Lives Matter is a terrorist group. What are they talking about? We ended police brutality. These people are just complaining. How dare they? Blacks are not targeted more? What are they talking about? Okay, I've done over 20 stories of police corruption. This sergeant, check this, told his subordinates allegedly, because the cops, what you're going to see is during the story, a lot of these cops are trying to plea out. They're tricking on each other. Now, what they're saying is, and now the cops that are already tricked, what they're allegedly saying is, oh, my sergeant told me to carry a toy gun, BB gun. And this is why every time you see an unarmed black man shot in the back, or a black man shot in the back, oh, he had a gun. See, there was a gun. I've done several stories. And I'm like, wait a minute, this ain't adding up. Here go 10 cops pointing the gun, fire it on the ground, and you up here. Let me try to get my gun out. That don't make any sense. I'm like, wait a minute, something ain't adding up. But then I'm like, okay, he had a gun, so, but I already knew that's probably fake. But we had no proof, so we can't say anything about it. Now we got the proof, but this ain't new to the black community. This is My Life in the Shop. There's a sheriff out of Milwaukee, David Clark. This coon. I'm gonna bring y'all him. Here's what he has to say about police brutality. Take a look.
Planned genocide to believing that
there is no police brutality in America. We ended that back in the 60s.
He sparred with Don Lemon over the Black Lives Matter movement, a movement that Clark once said was forming an alliance with the Islamic State to destroy America.
This anti-cop sentiment from this hateful ideology called Black Lives Matter has fueled this rage against the American police officer.
Fuel this rage. How dare they hate us? We harassed them, killed them, shoot them, put false charges, lock more of them up times 20. But how dare they hate us? Why these Black Lives Matter terrorists? We don't target them. Okay, sure. Really? We already know this. We live it every day. Every day I walk out my house. I just watched the video on Facebook. Black man coming home from... let me bring y'all a story out of Baltimore. This is it.
This morning, 7 Baltimore City police officers were arrested on federal racketeering charges. This case began about a year ago. It involved a covert investigation. The corruption investigation was spawned by a related drug conspiracy investigation conducted by DEA.
A federal judge on Thursday ordered that 6 of 7 Baltimore police officers recently charged with federal racketeering be held in jail prior to their trial. 2 months after 7 Baltimore police officers were indicted on federal racketeering charges, prosecutors have dropped charges in more than 4 dozen cases that depended on the officers' testimony.
Now imagine how many people they locked up. Over 2 dozen was dropped. Out of these cops, out of the 9 that's going to be indicted, imagine how many innocent people are in jail.
The Baltimore State's Attorney's Office and defense attorneys have already asked to vacate convictions or withdraw plea deals in another dozen cases, a necessary step before dropping those charges as well.
One of the members of the Baltimore Police Department Gun Trace Task Force charged with racketeering is expected to plead guilty next month in federal court, the Sun has learned. The attorney for Detective Maurice Ward confirms that his client is expected to plead guilty. In the case, he's the first to enter a plea. A trial is scheduled for next January.
People who've committed no crimes, false affidavits, false testimonies, false incident reports. This is why so many people complain about they didn't have drugs on them. All of a sudden, drugs on their person. But nobody's targeted.
A third Baltimore police detective is scheduled to plead guilty in federal court to robbing people he detained, billing for overtime hours he didn't work, and forging reports to cover up the crimes. Baltimore Police Detective Jamel Rayam will plead guilty Tuesday afternoon in federal court, his attorney Dennis Boyle told the Baltimore Sun on Monday.
Hey, I used to say that in the black community we need no black officers. I'm gonna withdraw that statement because even the black sellout coon ass pigs that's on the police force, some of them are worse than everybody else. They harass. I just picked up my partner who got a false aggravated battery on the police officer. Police officer said, "Oh, he pushed me." Aggravated assault. He had to plea out to it because if you don't plea out to it, you get 10 times more time. So you just say, "Okay, fuck it, give me the time, whatever. I did it. All right, yeah, I'm sorry if I did it." Crazy.
I am now aware of Detective Suter's pending federal grand jury testimony surrounding an incident that occurred several years ago with BPD police officers who were federally indicted in March of this year. The acting United States Attorney and the special agent in charge of the FBI's Baltimore field office have told me in no uncertain terms that Detective Suter was not the target of any ongoing criminal investigation.
A Philadelphia police officer was arrested at his home Tuesday morning and charged as part of a federal corruption case into an elite unit of the Baltimore Police called the Gun Trace Task Force. Eric Troy Snell, 33, a Philadelphia police officer for 3 years, was charged in federal court with selling cocaine and heroin the members of the Gun Trace Task Force had seized from the streets in Baltimore. According to an indictment, Snell had attended the police academy in Baltimore and he befriended an officer in the task force named Jamel Rayam.
Sergeant Wayne Jenkins, the supervisor of the Gun Trace Task Force, is slated to plead guilty on Friday. Jenkins faced some of the most serious accusations in the wide-ranging case, which accuses 8 members of an elite gun task force in the department of robbing citizens, filing false overtime, falsifying paperwork, turning off their body cameras, reselling drugs, reselling guns on the streets for years. Jenkins was one of 3 officers who was slated to take the case to trial later this month, but with his plea, that number's down to 2.
Wow, I hope these terrorists burn in hell and burn in jail. Hope they put them under the damn jail. These terrorists been harassing. That's what I'm talking about. These were an elite unit. An elite unit.
$1 million you're holding right there in your hand. Over $4 million in here. First day on the job, you hit a $3 million seizure.
Wait, you said 4?
Taxation without representation, brother. Nothing's free in this world, you lucky first day motherfucker. Buy your wife a minivan with that, put the kids through college.
Where are these good cops that Trump and these Republicans are always talking about? Wonder where they at. Wonder why they didn't speak up when they see their fellow officers doing corrupt stuff. Wonder where they at. Also, I thought blacks commit more crimes. This is why you see those reports. This is why you see so many blacks. This is why they're investing in the privatized prisons instead of investing in schools. They know if they invest in schools, that means more blacks go to college. That means more blacks make it. But if you invest in prisons instead of schools, that means those people that didn't go to school will go into prison. That means you get more slave labor and you get more blacks being controlled, enslaved. Slavery ain't go nowhere. Slavery just changed forms. We've known this. Blacks, this is nothing new to us. This is something we've been preaching. This is something we've been complaining about. However, it's time to stop complaining and do something about it. What are we going to do about this? Only thing we can do, because we have no money, we have no power. Shop in your own community to bring money back to your community to where you can have power. You have your own communities. And without money, you're defenseless people. I used to say blacks need their own police officers. But some of the blacks in the community, police officers, they act worse. They were punks that got beat up in high school, sissies, and they wanted to become cops to throw their weight around. They don't harass no one else but their own in their community. They kept the toy guns, though, in case they shoot a kid like Tamir Rice, that they could say, oh, there's a gun. And that ain't never make any sense to me. 10 cops aiming guns, and all of a sudden somebody say, hey, let me try to get my gun. Stop it. That never made sense to me. There's another case out of Chicago, a body cam, and that's another thing. Cutting off your body cams, that should be an instant termination. And in fact, that should be an indictment. Anytime anybody that kills a police officer or any crime against a police officer is 10 times worse. Why ain't it 10 times worse when they commit a crime? When they commit a crime, it should be 10 times worse. But they've been getting away with it. A lot of people ask, oh, what's Black Lives Matter? They're terrorists. How dare they speak against the police? We've been terrorized for forever. Ever since the history of United States. And we're still being terrorized. And some of y'all still are not going to believe me. Blacks are not being terrorized. I can tell you right now, I can take my phone right now. If I jump in my car and if a cop sees me, U-turn. They're running my plates, looking. And even if a tail light, I'm being thrown on the car, on the hood. Car being searched, harassed. Now I'm sure everybody else in their community, they experienced this too, right? These reports come out that, oh, blacks commit more crimes. And that's why when they get the reports at the end of the year, Republicans on Fox News going to say, but don't blacks commit more crimes? That's their argument. Blacks are targeted more because blacks apparently commit more crimes. It's not the case, and we know it. Why is it that whites use drugs at the same rate as blacks, but blacks are 80% of the prison for drugs? Arrested 80%. 80% of them are arrested. Blacks are targeted 20 times more. These aren't figures I'm just throwing out. These are facts. These are facts. 2 white sergeants, that was the leaders, supervisors of elite unit. One of these geniuses actually seized a drug dealer's money and drugs. Then he got a false warrant to raid his house and got $100,000 more. How stupid are you? These terrorists need to be taken off of the streets. How many people have ISIS killed in America? What, 0? None? How many people have these police terrorists killed? I think the count was at 1709 in 2017. In Canada, it was 0. Why is this seem to be happening here in America? This is the environment we create. This is the environment. Sheriff Clark and Republicans, fucking idiots. This is the new America we live in. This is the. Hopefully they go to jail. These are going to trial. But we all know what America does to cops. They give them vacations. paid leave, paid vacations. They'll probably be in a neighborhood in your town. Of course, they go to black neighborhoods to police black neighborhoods to harass them, of course. That's why they become cops. That's to go into the black community to harass them. They don't harass people in their own neighborhood. But apparently even black cops, and this is true, black cops are even the assholes and jackasses too. They act the same damn way. We can't get a damn break. Damn. Anyway, make sure y'all like, comment, let me know what you think about this video. Peace.